right, today we have a very unique special guest, someone who stumbled upon something that was floating around on Facebook for a couple of days. I know I saw it in my feed multiple times, didn't you as well?
Yes, I did.
It was a giant size USS Enterprise, the refit version, for $1,200 that was for sale on someone's lawn. So please welcome our special guest, Bill Doern.
Hey, How are you guys doing?
Awesome. So Bill, tell us a little bit about where you grew up and what your background is with Star Trek.
Well, I grew up, I was born in Toronto, Canada. I know you folks are in the States, and probably a lot of your listeners are in the States as well. But I was born in Toronto, grew up in Winnipeg, and moved back to Toronto again when I was a teen. And I guess my life experience with Trek started at a very early stage. I would say early 70s. As a kid growing up, watching repeats of the original series on TV. And, I think I was always fascinated with the program. Probably one of my favorite Saturday things to do, watching Star Trek and just really enjoying the show. So it's something that I've been a part of for probably most of my life. And then, of course, later years watching Next Generation and all of the movies and the whole bit. So I've been a Trekker for a very long time, I would say. Probably better part of my life. I'd say it's a part of my DNA.
That's great. Yeah, that's something we have in common because we all started in the 70s as well watching the original series.
So Bill, paint us a picture, because we saw on the internet, people were reposting it constantly, that there was a enormous USS Enterprise for $1,200 on sale on someone's lawn. And I remember saying to my wife, wow, if that was around here, I'd be so tempted to buy it. We have nowhere to put it, but it's truly amazing. So how did this all come about?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I started with, I was driving back from the store and just happened to drive past this giant Enterprise. And I kept on going past, and I put on the brakes. I went, hang on a second. I'm never going to see that again. I've got to stop and take a picture of this thing with myself. There was no for sale sign on it or anything else like that.
So wait, back up for a second. Was this a residential neighborhood, or was it a very populated area?
Oh, no, it's residential. Yeah, it's like a suburb in Toronto. So, it's definitely a put on the brakes and take a second look kind of opportunity. But I walked up to the owner's house and, rang the doorbell, no answer. So I thought, well, I didn't really want to take a picture of it without sort of asking for permission, but I did walk down and took a couple of snaps, and at which point the owner came out and had a sign, brought a sign out with him saying he was going to put it up for sale. So I went, okay, hang on a second. This seems super cool and interesting. So I made my way home. And about 20 minutes later, I gave the man a call and told him that I would pick it up, and offered him a price on it. And he kindly transported it to my house the next day. So it was fantastic.
Wow. So you didn't see it online for sale like we did. You were driving past it and saw it even before it had the for sale sign on it.
I had a pre-sale, and then other people were telling me that I was, that it was sort of this great find. So it was super cool. I picked it up.
Now, give us some background. You did some research on it. Where was this Enterprise originally?
Well, it was a prop really that hung inside of a movie theater. So in Canada, we have a variety of theaters that I think they were called Silver City, and I think they were owned by Paramount. And so we actually, you could go to a number of different movie theaters in the Greater Toronto area, and you'd see different versions of the Enterprise hanging in there, but they're way up in the ceiling. I mean, you'd never get close to these things. But it was just essentially there's a movie prop, and they would have other props from other films as well. They would have, Klingon Bird of Prey was in a number of the theaters, and then I think you'd also have things from Back to the Future and different films as well. So lots of full size props that were hanging in theaters.
Well, so do you know who built it or anything?
I don't know anything about the builder other than I assume that there was several made for the theater chain. for that, for that purpose, just really as a part of as an entertainment piece inside of the theater itself.
So give us some specs. How large is this Enterprise?
So it's 16 feet long, probably weighs upwards of 300 pounds or so. It's quite heavy, and about 7 feet wide. And if you've seen the pictures of it, I think there's a couple of relative ones. I'm 5'11", so it's a fairly sizable piece. And I guess sitting on the engineering hull, probably I'm going to say 4 feet high. So it's a big piece of stuff. That's for sure. It's pretty gigantic.
What kind of material is it made of?
Well, it's made out of fiberglass. So I'll be posting pictures of this up on the Facebook page in the next day or so. But you can even see on the inside, if you take off the deflector dish, you can have a look inside of the engineering cavity, and you can see some of the structural components. But it's made of just really like a heavy duty fiberglass.
So where did you put it in your home? I'm curious.
Oh, it's
Is
in
it
the
like
garage
in your
now.
living room?
You won't get this inside of a house.
Yeah, I was wondering. So is it? Or do you have it propped up or anything to keep it level?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So one of the first things that we built was a very quick and dirty makeshift cradle to hold it on the engineering hull, and then of course it's been propped up with some garbage cans and stuff like that at the saucer section. But just yesterday, actually, we in order to work on it, we actually need to be able to move it around and so on. So we've built a specialized dolly with a much better cradle in the back to hold the engineering hull. And then the last component is that we need to build another brace to hold the saucer section into place. And then it'll be ready for restoration. We'll have it something that's movable and we can take out into the yard to work on better.
Okay, so I guess it's several years old and it does need, like as you said, restoration. A few things you're going to fix up on it.
Yeah, some of the pictures that I posted online show where there's probably the greatest area of problem, I guess, from a structural standpoint. So there's a couple of cracks. There's a hairline crack actually in the top of the engineering hull. There's a couple of small fractures in the nacelles and things like that. But generally it's in pretty good condition. The bridge is lopped off, so we'll have to rebuild something new there. And that's where I'm going to be, hopefully having the expertise of somebody who does model building. I'm not a model builder myself. I just saw the opportunity. So there's one person who's expressed an interest in helping with the electronics component of this, because we want to build out the lights quite a bit more than the way that they have been in the past. But then also just from a structural perspective, working with somebody who understands the engineering of large scale models and has some expertise in the use of fiberglass.
So the person you bought it from, did you find out like how long has he had it and where did he get it from?
Oh, I think he had it only for a very short period of time. I think it was the kind of thing that they had picked up when they were doing construction on the theater. So I guess the theaters are undergoing a renovation, and they saw this thing and thought, well, it's kind of cool. They could probably sell it. And I don't think that they necessarily knew what they had in their hands, but just that it was a big, cool model. And so I think he only had it for a couple of days, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, when we saw it on Facebook, it looked like it. From the time that I first saw the picture to the time that they said it was sold, it was only like a couple of days.
Oh, yeah. It wasn't even that. It was a day. Like I told him 20 minutes after I saw the for sale sign that, I'd pick it up. I had to check in with the boss first. She looked at me sideways a little bit. My wife is a Star Trek fan too, but, just kind of looked at this thing and I said, look, this is the kind of thing that we must have. Someone's got to preserve it. And I think this would be a great thing to show at different Comic-Cons and conventions and so on, events, and so it was a pretty easy decision to make. So I made the gentleman an offer and had it the next day.
So that's wonderful that you have in mind sharing with other Star Trek fans. What are specifically your future plans for showcasing this?
Yeah, specific plans? I don't have specific plans, but I have had a lot of individuals express an interest in having the model at their shows, and I think a part of the big challenge, of course, is transporting something that size so that it's so that it remains stable and that it's remains in good condition. And I don't think that the packing in a crate is necessarily the best way to do that for something of this size. But the plan is, as a part of the restoration project, to build a custom trailer so that it can be transported from event to event. And what I would really like that trailer to do is create a bit of an experience. So, mounting the Enterprise on something that is I guess I would characterize it as a kind of a mount that would allow you to display the model in a bunch of different aspects. So you could rotate it on the X, Y, and Z axes, and then also have the trailer walls come down and build it out as a bit of a stage, and have a mock console there, or put a model of a bridge of that particular model there as well, with the idea that that people could go up there and then pose with it.
That is awesome. Maybe you could bring it to the U.S. sometime.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. That's, and in fact, I've received a number of calls from people who would like to have it at their events in the U.S. I know you folks, you're in Nashville, I think, and I'd absolutely love to get out to Nashville.
Yeah, we'd enjoy having you. Being in, I'll tell you this, I gotta tell you a story though, and only Canadians find this interesting. Americans have no idea who I'm talking about, but years ago I was on the Mike Bullard show.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
He loves his Caesars.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's like a decade ago.
Yeah. Well, thank you again for joining us, Bill. We look forward to following the adventures of your Enterprise and seeing how this is restored, and hopefully we'll be able to see it in real life.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to sharing it with other fans. So that's really part of what I want to do with it, and I also want to make sure that when we're doing that, we're actually using any funds raised through the shows to support STEM education.
Oh, that's awesome. So is there a place where our listeners can see your pictures or anything?
Yes, if you go to the Enterprise 1701A Restoration Project on Facebook, and I'll send you a link to that so that you can post it to your followers and fans as well. You'll see everything that we're doing, and then we also have a GoFundMe page set up as well that is linked to from the Facebook page.
And that has the information on how to support STEM education, I'm sure?
That's correct.
Excellent, because we go to Starbase Indy every year. That's a Star Trek convention. That's the foundation is STEM education, and it's a wonderful thing because the idea of Star Trek being reality starts from youth onward, of how we can build the fundamentals of STEM education.
That's exactly it. Couldn't agree more.
Hey, thank you again.
Right on. Take care, guys.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and join our Facebook group. Live long, and may the Force be with you. Nanu Nanu.